Well, hello and welcome to Audionautic Deep Space Network, episode 55. I was cracking up because I could see when Trans-Pacific was playing, Curtis was just vibing to it. I was like, that's great. I gotta, no, they're all unmuted. Perfect. Okay, we're still getting the hang of the new streaming setup. But let us know as you watch it if you're digging the new stream setup because we can do things like this. Or we can do things like this. Or we can do back to this. We got some cool stuff. Anyways, this is our weekly music production, gear, technology, and marketing podcast. Today, we're going to take a listen to some awesome new tunes from Curtis off of his album Marooned. And then we've got a few pieces of gear to talk about, as it wouldn't be an episode of ADSN without that. And then finally, in the round robin, we'll chat about the best work smarter, not harder studio tips. And I stress those words because beforehand, I got very confused. I had it written on the docket, work harder, not smarter. And Curtis was like, isn't the saying smarter, not harder? I was like, no, I want to work harder. I don't want to work smarter. But no, we're talking smarter, not harder. Anyways, my name is Sun Warper. With me today and with us today is Eon Lake. How are you?
Hey, man. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm very glad to be back.
Yeah, we're happy to have you, man. We missed you. How have you been?
I missed you too. I want you to know I've been a good boy. I've been upgrading my hardware like you told me to. And, to your question.
Wait. I got to ask, did you get the Digitact and the SP update or just...
Yeah, although I only did the Digitact today, so I've not really done much with it yet, unfortunately. But yeah. And in answer to your question on the SP, the big feature for me is a terabyte on flashcards.
Dude, yeah, how cool is that?
They fixed the biggest problem for me. I thought, like, 32 gig on like those big flashcards that I used to put in a camera like 15 years ago or something. I just thought that seemed a bit rubbish.
Yeah,
whereas
I feel
you got the micro SDs in the black box and things like that, and they've gone and fixed it. I think you still got to have a small capacity one for doing the actual upgrades.
Yeah, there's something a little weird with that, where to do at least the update to get there, you have to have a smaller one, I believe. I'm not sure for future updates.
It's almost like the firmware only understands old flashcards, but the full thing, once it's loaded, can read newer ones. So, but either way,
yeah,
thumbs up from me.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, have you tried the bouncing a pattern to sample or doing the MFX automation?
Again, that is something that I will be wanting to do, because that's what I want to do, is take all the pieces, make it into something, bounce that down, take more pieces, make that into something. Because for me, the joy of the box is a way of creating sounds and layering sounds without using a DAW and without sort of necessarily using a grid, although you can step sequence them and so on. It's just the way that you can get textures so quickly. Just use it that way. And so, I will be doing that, a lot of it.
That's awesome, yeah. Well, that's exciting. Well, we're happy to have you back with us today. It's not the same without you, but... always with us is my Audionautic co-pilot, Curtis. How are you?
Yeah, mate, I'm good. Nearly didn't make it here today, but here we are. It's always good. You want to know that I literally just said that, so I want to know where your heart rate went. But it's all good.
My heart rate was probably normal. I was like, this is just, I embrace the chaos of these shows at this point. I was like, whatever.
We're doing everything, aren't we? So it makes sense. But no, I'm good. It's been a good one. I've been building templates again. I found a formula, and I'm building. I found that 8 channels wasn't enough, and so I've gone to 16. Right. And you might say that limitation.
That was the last template, though. So
yes, but I'm happy.
Next one.
I'm happy with the 16. So now it's a case of how is that 16 working? How is that 16 manifesting? So I've got, it was originally a couple of guitars, the Nova, the Monologue and that, and I've built one purely for MIDI. I've built one for just guitar. I've built one for, what was the other one? Oh yeah, just for everything going off the, you can't see it, everything going off the launch pad. so that I can just create using different VSTs with the Launchpad in theory for like a backpack setup kind of thing. And that's worked quite nicely because I've just filmed a live version of Timepiece 2. I was working on it from last week. I think I mentioned it last week, but dipping in and out of it. Finally recorded it and edited it yesterday, which has been, it's been interesting, if not slightly frustrating. But it's always that way. I've never found the idea of recreating the tracks that I make very interesting. I've never found it the most particularly fun part of what I do. I always found it as the performative side, which, I know it's ironic seeing what we're doing today on the docket, but performing and like putting myself at the center of attention is also something I'm particularly comfortable with. And I'm always about creating new things. But this has been an interesting exercise. My audio is
I was gonna tell you, I didn't want to interrupt you, but we got the dub. I'm gonna mute you again really quick because I have the power now to do that, and I don't want to get that loud sound. So let's test if that's any better.
How's that?
Guys, let us know in the chat. I also believe that I can do... let's test this out. Yeah, look. Just to make everyone know that Curtis's audio is a little wonky. We can do that now. Well, that's cool. Yeah, so you've been trying to do a little more of a portable setup? You stealing my thunder? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I wake up every morning and wonder, how can I be more like Sunwarper?
Well, I'm flattered. I'm just kidding. No, the portable setups are the way to go.
Yeah, it's good fun. I mean, I've always been in a state of everything can be fit inside a suitcase. And I'm still with that vibe. But if I want to go and start working in or start making little jams in cafes and such around Prague, I think the two launch controls. So I've decided I'm going to buy another launch control, 2 launch controls, and then the launch pad. And I think if I can make stuff from that, I think I'll be a pretty happy bunny with that. So we'll see. But
is the new one going to get full size launch control or the little teeny one that I was looking at? I like the teeny one.
I've got the XL, and I kind of like the way it works. And I think I'll get another XL when the time is right, and when I can. It's tax season here in Prague, so it's like they might have to wait a little bit, but we'll see. I definitely go for the XL, because go big or go home, as they say. It's the way forward. But that's what's going on with me. What's going on with you, Sam Walker?
Let's see. I have been doing some really fun little vocal experiments. I was messing around with the dollar setup. I'm going live tomorrow, and we're doing synthwave according to a poll I posted. I did ambient beats or synthwave, and first it was all tied, so I was stressing. I thought I was gonna have to do an ambient lo-fi synthwave track, but it looks like now it's leveling out to just synthwave. So I'm like, okay, I don't have to sweat as much anymore. It'll be fine. But I was just doing some I've been missing playing guitar because of my wrist, and it's finally I've been able to play more and more guitar lately. So yesterday I was just writing this new guitar track, and then I was like, you know what it needs? It needs some hymn chants or vocals. So I just grabbed the this mic. Sorry if it just clicked. Let me see if I can get it. I can't get it in the camera, but the blue, I think it's the Yeti. You can probably confirm. It's the Yeti, right?
It's the Yeti.
Yeah, so I was too lazy to dig through wherever I have all my mics as I'm setting up my studio. So I just grabbed that one and did some singing, and then now I'm just refining it. And I have to either pitch correct it to get it right or just actually sing it right, which I don't know. Should I be lazy or should I not be? You guys tell me.
Always.
Do it properly, mate. I've always cut corners and regretted it.
I thought you were going to say work smarter, not harder. But now you're telling me I was right. Work harder, not smarter.
Work
harder. Yeah. Okay. But that's what I've been up to. Chat, let us know what you guys have been up to. I just also want to, since I put Curtis's audio on the spot, I did want to also say that it sounds better.
Yeah, there we go. I love this little chat thing. It's really interactive. It's really cool.
And you were so hesitant to do StreamYard. I was like, no, this is the way, man. It's the way of the future.
It's fair. This is the way. Yeah, completely. I was hesitant. And I'm glad that I'm eating my words. Right now it's nice. Let us know, guys, what you think. This is a new little thing. We also do have the little StreamYard duck, which did replace Eon Lake last week.
It was StreamYard Lake. But now we have
Lake.
Eon Lake and StreamYard Lake, and I put their window in the same spot so that they can compete for attention. So I don't know. You got competition. I think people want to see the cute little duck, but I personally want to see Haur and Eon Lake. So
to be honest, it sounds like it's going to be a massive flap. So we'll have to see. Just see where that goes. That was a poor one. But yeah.
I may be getting some wub again from you, Curtis.
Oh, maybe I have to sit back here this week.
Well, I think it's something with when the mic moves. It's the XLR cable. Wait. Okay, go ahead. We appreciate you guys bearing with us as we deal with all these crazy technical things.
This don't move for the rest of the show.
Now,
you're not allowed to touch your microphone or boop it in any way, shape, or form.
I can go boop with that. Yeah, we'd like to know what you've been getting on about. I will get a new microphone eventually. It's probably what I need to do. But this is it's an old one that I picked up, and it's doing its well, but it's probably past its prime. But yeah. We'd like to know what you see. We've got Hydra Fighter in the chat today. We've got Shady Ridge. I spoke to Ben earlier today. He's back at work. Bendu. He's back at work. Might be tuning in later. But thank you ever so much for joining us. Wonderful to have you here. We really appreciate seeing what you're up to and where you're going.
Good company to be in.
Yeah, it's always good company to be in. Very much so. If anyone watching back on this as well, Hydra Fighter, Shady, they're both patrons of ours. It's really nice. If you like what we're doing and you want to see more of it, consider becoming a patron yourself. Pledges start at $2, and it's great. We've got a new community going around. We have monthly hangouts on Discord. We're always swapping tips and tricks. It's a great little place to be.
Yeah, sorry, I'm changing the thumbnail or the title of the episode, but there's so many things you can do in StreamYard, but we were a bit late to start, and so a lot of these things that usually happen beforehand in the back end are now happening live. I had to post to Twitter as well, so bear with me. But yes, if you'd like to join the Patreon, we have a ton of stuff. There's Discord and Twitter channels that are exclusive for the patrons where we talk about anything and everything, and we also have our monthly Star Stream Hangouts where we talk all kinds of stuff, usually gear. Like last time, we helped Curtis figure out one of his prototypes of his live setup, but it may have transformed again. But if you want to check it all out, you can head to the link in the description, and we'd love to have you over there.
Yeah, very much so. Survey channels just popped up. Hello, Matt. Hope you're doing well. I was thinking about you when you posted a photo on Twitter over the weekend, I believe, with a little keyboard, and we have a little sample pack from Casio SK-1. So part of this week's news is sponsored by Survey Channel in a way, so that's always nice. But yes, I don't want to introduce the first segment because that's too much. I can't introduce my own stuff. So Eon Link, over to you, bro.
So this is the track, isn't it? I'm forgetting which track we're starting with, actually.
I can tell you on the docket. I'll kickstart it. Don't worry. All right. So this week, well, a couple weeks ago, but due to some crazy time shifts and all that stuff, we had to delay it. But Curtis released a very cool new album through Audionautic Records called Marooned, and he can tell you a lot more about it and the genesis of it and the story of it, as is important for Curtis. But we are going to take a listen to a few of the tracks before we start talking gear and other things. And we are starting with False Prophets.
Yeah, very much so. So let's start with this one, shall we? I was surprised. I like this one. I mean, I like them all, obviously. But I'm surprised that this one did those things. So do you want to cut straight to it?
Yeah, just really quick. I want to ask. Curtis was Survey Channel. I'm sorry, was saying. I'm going to share it. He said that post blew up, but nothing came of it. The power of social media. Yeah, social media is like it's so funny how sometimes, like a lot of likes and stuff don't translate to things, and the things that don't get a lot of likes may translate to. It's like, social media is like a visage. It's not, you can never tell with it, right?
Paper tiger, almost.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. It's an interesting way of coming through.
Oh yeah, and we've got some wonky audio again from the mic, but you can mess with it while we play the song. And Shady Ridge is going to get to listen to these songs twice. He says he just listened in full prior to the show starting.
Oh, awesome. Hopefully you don't get sick of it before I send you the CD. Hopefully.
It is the best way to listen to it as well. end to end. It's a real journey.
It's all concise. It's all one big story within a story within a story. But I mean, I've broken that tradition and gone straight in with track 5, I believe, because I think this is my favorite one. So I've started with this one.
All right.
I was like to some Warper, which one should I do? It's like, whatever you want. I was like, oh, okay.
I was like, why are you asking me? I didn't make it, man.
That's very you, though, jumping in the middle as well.
But yeah, go on. This is False Prophets, and I'll do what I can with my microphone in the.
Yeah, just wait till I mute you to do it. We don't need to ruin your song.
So let's do this one here. False Prophets. This one here, Chrome tab. This one. Okay.
I'm not hearing it. Oh, sorry, I had you muted actually.
It's all right. Share screen. Share screen. It's a Chrome tab. It is a Chrome tab. Thank you very much indeed. It is a Chrome tab. I'm sharing a Chrome tab. Don't know why. Entire screen. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Sorry.
Football. Now it just doesn't seem to matter that much. I'm just so beautiful. What difference does it make if I'm bald? That may sound like ego to some of you, but it's a transcendent statement. Well, you see what had happened was the spiritual identity played right into my hands psychologically. Psychologically, there were whole parts of my being that I was afraid of and I didn't accept. And here I had a justification to get rid of them by becoming holy. And I was using my spiritual journey psychodynamically in order to get myself free of things that I couldn't.
You still there?
Here.
Ah.
Were you?
Say it again. You blacked out.
You've gone. We've lost you.
I muted myself purposely. I was saying, were you worried we went away?
Yeah. That's it. That's it. But yeah, so that's false pits, I suppose. Yeah, that's that one.
And that one is a vibe.
Yeah, I know. It's wavy.
It is wavy. It is wavy. I'm just looking at J Bell's comment. You are a Chrome tab. Yeah. Thanks to J Bell. That is the bass on that one is actually thanks to J Bell.
I was going to say that was one of the things that stuck out to me. I liked it.
He ascended to a Chrome tab for that song. Yeah,
very much so. Yeah.
Look at that.
It's cool. He basically walked into my studio one day when we were both working at our previous job. He just walked in and went, "Do you want to add some bass?" I was like, "Yeah," and he was in the room. Yeah, and he just.
And we got Hydro Fighter saying bassline is groovy on that tune.
It very much is, and it was great. It was great. He just walked in, just did all this bass, and then left, and then proceeded to do his thing. And then I chopped it all up, and then we have that bass line, and it's awesome. I think it's the best bass line in that entire album, to be honest. And I didn't write it, which is even better.
Well, there we go. So so the bass is in, but that's all you on the guitar, right? Shredding away there.
Yeah, everything else is me.
Is that a plugin, or is that Iridium pedal?
That's the Strymon Iridium.
Nice.
Which is, I love it. I don't think I'd ever go back to an amp now. Just again, with the whole, we talked about portability of setups and that, and I love it. It's great. Whether I'm plugging in with my Telecaster or whether I'm plugging in with my lag, it's beautiful. So I can't recommend them enough. Best €400 I ever spent.
Yeah, nice.
It's cool. So yeah, that is that one. Like I say, I think the favorite one of the album, probably because of the bass line. It's also the first one that you mastered, Sunwarper.
Was it?
Yeah.
I don't remember the order of mastering that I did on that.
Yeah, it was the first one that came back, and it was the first one. I remember you sent it to me, and I just had it on loop for about 2 days because it was the first time that Marooned kind of came. That's what I did when I sent it to you for mastering, and then come back, and it's like it's the first time it comes alive, so to speak. So you always take that into account, And I was like, okay, this album actually could be something, So, yeah.
We got J Bell says Maroon's an awesome album, and even cooler than that, he said that my fiance and the baby she is carrying both found it relaxing and vibey.
Yeah, little Luna doing well. That's nice.
So many vibes.
Yeah. It's always nice.
All right, so shall we move on to the next song, which you've got listed here as Flux?
Flux. All right, I chose Flux, did I? Okay, interesting. Okay,
you've got Flux and You Are the Sun. That's what you wrote, not me.
Thank you for reminding me. So let me bring that up one up. So this is Flux. Let's do its thing. And then, this is the monologue one. All right, hang on. Let me present, share screen, entire screen. This one, share system
with audio this time.
It's so it is a bit convoluted, but we're getting there. We're getting there. Do you see that?
By the way, chat, let us know if you'd rather see our ugly mugs while the song's playing or just want to see the artwork. We think the artwork, but let us know.
Remember, we do have feelings.
We do have feelings. Made to break them. All right, this is Flux.
There are three terms in Buddhism that are focused on a great deal: anicca, dukkha, anatta. The talked about already, it means change. Everything is changing all the time. All forms are at a state of change, transformation, all the time. So there's nowhere you can grab hold and be sure it's going to be that way. The second of those three things is dukkha, which means suffering, which means all form is limited. All form is infinite, it's finite. It's always contained or controlled. It's always pushing back into the formless, into the all. And any attachment to those forms is suffering. If you identify with the form, you will suffer. The form is changing, and the form is bound. That's dukkha. And the third of those three things means that there is no self. There's no separate entity. There is no soul. And all is changing. It's just patterns of changing things. And in them there may be the illusion of a separate entity, of a me or of an I. But if you stop identifying yourself as a soul, there's still going to be suffering. As a soul, no matter how subtle it is still something. And as long as you see yourself as something, you are separate from all the rest of it. Within the one, there are no labels, there's no descriptions. Only conceive of yourself, of what is or isn't. And it's interesting that
All right, that was Flux. We got some interesting comments there. I almost was going to keep that one up, but I'll put it up one more time. Just the rule of threes, right? That's baby making music right there. There we go, Shady. And we got a lot of people talking about the artwork. Said you upped your artwork game. And Hydra Fighter said multiple people said they wanted to see our mugs. I don't have a coffee mug though, so Eon Lake took offense to the term ugly. I'm sorry, Eon Lake. I didn't mean it that way. But Curtis or Hydro Fighter had a great save there though. He said it's the mug that Curtis just sipped out of.
Yeah.
So show us that mug, Curtis, if you don't mind.
This is my very tea stained mug.
There we go. There we go.
Very ugly, yeah.
Very ugly. All around.
So,
yeah.
Curtis, I remember before we did the live stream, you said you really wanted to talk the story of Marooned. I don't know if you want to wait till we listen to the third song, or if you'd rather talk about it now.
Well, there's no time like the present, I suppose. Yeah,
I suppose so. Who knows where we'll be in 5 minutes?
Yeah, who knows?
Clearly, met some wise people on this particular track, but yeah, go on, man. Tell us about
it. While we do that, just before I get into that, if anyone wants to hear a particular track for the third one, let me know. I have one up here, but I'm very happy to go with the democratic vote. So if anyone wants to hear a particular track, just let me know. But yeah, okay. So if you all the tracks come from the same place, right? They all come from the same story, the same canon, the same idea of this hairy chimp dude who is currently stuck on a planet. So Marooned is exactly straight after Episodes and Solos, and he is about to accept his death. That's what Episodes and Solos is. It's his kind of like homage to his existence, because he believes he's stranded and he's going to die on this planet. But being the fool that he is, he looks over a hill and sees there's actually an encampment of people who are very much alive and very much there, and who are also happen to be stranded on this tomb world. And these are who he becomes to know are the exiled followers of Matthew, which they're a sect, a cult, the followers of Matthew, and then they got exiled, or a part of them, they got exiled onto this planet as well. And they take Curtis in, and they basically sit around the fire, hence towards the artwork and stuff. And it's where they share their ideas, experiences, what they're about, what their philosophy of kind of life is. And that's what Marooned is. Marooned is the idea of Curtis think he's going to die, and then understanding that there's a lot more to this world, and he goes and interacts with these people, and spends his time surrounded by the campfire, and then learns, and that's what this is. The next one is to get him off of this planet, and I haven't kind of worked out. Well, I know him getting off the planet. I don't know how he's going to get off it yet, but I know he's off it at some point. But that's where he is right now. He's around this campfire, and he's kind of exploring his inner self again, so to speak.
Interesting. Very cool. And then a couple questions we had. First is a comment, but it ties into a question. Hydro Fighter said some great guitar tones on this song and the whole album. I know we already talked that it's Iridium, but then somewhat tying into that, J Bell asked, all the guitars and piano lines are live, right? Not VST?
The guitars are live. The pianos are... Yeah, no, the pianos are the VSTs. They're complete control.
Oh, then it's unlistenable.
Yeah, completely.
I'm just kidding. If it's not real piano, I can't listen to it.
So yeah, actually, again, credit where it's due. I got the complete control from J Bell.
There you go. That's why he's asking, probably.
That's why he's asking. Yeah, the little donut. But yeah, it's complete control. So it's a various of the upright pianos and the Rode pianos in there. Nice.
Oh, actually, he clarified. He meant, did you perform the piano?
Oh, yeah, totally. So it's all performed.
If it's not from MIDI chord packs, I can't listen to it. Like,
Nico, what's the point?
I only do chord packs now.
Yeah, it's chord packs. You can light your pianos on fire. You just need chord packs now.
I would like to see it. Yeah. I mean, screw Nico's second MIDI chord pack. I mean, it's going to have diminished, so it's going to be good. You know that.
Yeah. He's got you.
Yeah, exactly. It even needs real stuff these days. But yeah, everything's performed and everything's live looped. I think one of the struggles with this album was, one of the things that brought it down for me was the fact that because it's live loop, there's that whole looping thing, and it's a loop, and you kind of build on the loops, and then which is trip hop, which is very trip hop. More recently, I found a way to move, hence 16 channels. But we'll get there. It's cool.
Yeah, there we go. All right, so time for the last song. I know you have what? You Are the Sun.
We got You Are the Sun, which I'm quite happy to do. Let's go with that. I think we'll go with that one.
Yeah, it's your album, man. Showcase it the way you want to showcase it.
This is an interesting one for the way it's produced, because the original project file was actually in FL back in the day when I started on FL, and I tried to get the stems from FL into Ableton by bouncing them out, but for some reason FL kept crashing, and the only way I could get the track off of it was to print it through Edison and export it as a WAV. So all of that is as it is. It's the mix as it is, and then the piano thing, like the key line that the solo, basically, I just soloed over the top. So it's actually only two. It's just a nice way of working. I like this one for that reason. But it also has, I don't know the BPM. I don't know what it's in. I don't know anything. You
should check out Serato Studio. Well, we talked about that one time. It'll sense the BPM, the key, most likely, and then also you could separate the stems, drums, bass, melody, and then it does vocals, but it might catch some melody line or something. You should check it out because it'll give you the BPM. I mean, there's also tap tempo. That's what I do on SP when I sample stuff. I just hit the tap tempo to figure it out. But Serato, Koala, anything like that might really be able to let you like separate it and see what you can do with it. And maybe for live performance or something too.
Maybe, yeah. It's worth a shot. It's not looped as well, so putting the extended stems back into Ableton to perform it live doesn't work. So yeah, there's things to do there, I think. So yeah, there's always to learn. So yeah, this is You Are the Sun. So again, share screen, tie screen, share system audio. There you go.
We're getting there. Also, we could do this. Let us know which version you prefer.
There we go. I forgot about that little distorted bit at the end. Yeah,
I really liked that, actually.
Yeah. That's just a filter sweep automated with a bit of bit crushing on the master.
Nice.
That's a bit of dirt. I liked it.
It's kind of frazzled out, which is cool. A little bit
J-Bell
different.
says, "What a track!"
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much indeed.
I mean, so much mood in all of these, and the environments. You know, to use a bit of a knobby term, I was going to use another word there. They're just so pleasing, really sort of fresh and vibrant. I really like the instrumentation on the whole album. It's really cohesive, but it never gets boring. And every time there's a vibe or an atmosphere, it's good, it's different, and it really takes you somewhere. It's for fantastic listeners, a whole album. It really is.
Thank you very much indeed. That's cool. It's a journey, and it's a journey of a little space monkey as he's stranded on a little desert island, and it's got no way in any shape or form anything to do with my existence at all. So it's good.
Well, there you go. Yeah, one thing I really like is I feel like maybe it's also just having listened to them to master them and going through it like, very analytically. But I feel like it's, as we've talked about before, it's one of those albums where the artwork and the instrumentation and the vibes all complement each other and come together to create this very visual language that you have throughout the whole album that you hear, and you can like be like, oh yeah, I can get this, like the colors of the artwork. It's very reminiscent of like how I would imagine all like the instrumentations. I mean, I don't have synesthesia or whatever it's called, but like that, it's that sort of thing where I can see like, oh, it's those kind of colors that like I would think guitar, I would think these like mellow triplets and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, if it's not a triplicated ARP, is it really in the canon?
I was gonna say at the end, I was like, that's the most courtesy thing that could ever Curtis.
It's always there. Low-fi patch and automated triple arpeggiators. Yeah, completely enough to do.
Yeah. Well, there we go. So that is a few of the tracks from Marooned. If you guys want to check out the full album, it is on Spotify. It's on streaming, but of course, it's on Bandcamp. There's CDs. Curtis, do you want to put a link in the chat? I can't move from StreamYard. I was going to, and I was like, oh crap, I can't leave this thing. So Curtis will put a link in the chat, and then after, if you guys are watching this either on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, any podcast provider, or on the YouTube after it airs, I will put a link in the description if you want to check it out. But it is on audionauticrecords.bandcamp.com.
Thank you. Yeah. Just for those who are watching back, a couple of people watching bought CDs. I now have them in my possession, and they will be sent out in the next few days. There was a little bit of a delay getting through customs, but they're all there. So yeah, you get them very shortly. So thank you very much for buying, and I'm very glad to hear that everyone has enjoyed the tracks, because yeah, it's always nice to hear, I suppose. So yeah.
Yeah, you worked on this for a really long time. It's great to see everything come through, to see it finally come out. I know we were working on it together back in like December and November for a January release, and then we had to kind of move things around and stuff. So it's nice to see it come to fruition and come out and be there and be this artistic expression of everything you've been working on for like a year or two, right?
Yeah, it's been 2 years. I started writing it in Vietnam. You Are the Sun I wrote in Vietnam, and then now, I mean, I've been in Prague for 2 years, so it's very much 2 years of my life kind of wrapped up. But obviously, I've done other things and kind of back to it. But I mean, this is like, you've got your side quests, like fragments and stuff, and this is kind of like on the main quest. Oh, yeah.
You did a bit of a Sunwalker there, didn't you? I'm taking it back to my album to write an album.
Hey, what can I say? It's infectious, right? You just can't help yourself.
It's really weird, isn't it? Like, okay, so like the next album, the next LP, I've already written, right? It's already there and done. But I mean, I won't do anything with it for a while, because there's all the other things that I'm working on right now, and I don't know about you guys, but taking and doing an LP, because of the emotional and the kind of the physical effort that it takes after it, you're kind of like, let's just do something else for a little bit. Let's bite off a smaller cherry first, and then come back to it.
Yeah,
definitely.
Always fun trying something new. Let's put it that way.
Definitely. Well, that's Marooned. Now it's time to talk some gear. Just a little bit. It's a bit of a quicker episode. Well, not quicker episode. This will probably run long, but quicker rest of the episode. We only have a few things because we really wanted to talk in depth about Marooned. But what do you want to start with? Do you want to start with this crazy sampler, or do you want to start with some free stuff? Chat, let us know what you guys think. We can be democratic though, and I'll ask Eon Lake and Curtis. Eon Lake, what would you prefer? Something free or something not yet out? It's a Kickstarter, but a very interesting
free stuff.
Free stuff. Okay, Curtis.
I'm gonna go with free stuff as well for the narrative.
I'll break it and say the sampler, but let's see if we get anybody in the chat saying otherwise. But it sounds like we're going with the free stuff. You know, I love free stuff. I'm very interested. This sampler's pretty trippy, but we'll get to it either way. So who cares?
Well, yeah, exactly.
We'll get to it. I mean, I feel like the free stuff goes into the Chompy because
you weren't supposed to say the name. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, let's just start with the free stuff then, because it's just a quick one.
Okay, so this is from hang on. This is from Music Radar, which shows you just how little news there is this week. Onto Music Radar, but the
let me do this one. Sorry. Okay.
They do a consistent sample radar thing every week, and this one is from the Casio SK-1, which is a survey channel posted about over the weekend, I believe, or towards the end of last week. But also, it's that classic kind of, it's that keyboard that everyone hates but loves at the same time. You know, it's been used by so many people, but it's kind of not very good. You know, so it's kind of got.
I mean, yeah, but maybe that not very good is part of its charm, right? So where are the samples? Is it a contact player?
So no, it's you can just download them from the. Just download them here.
Very cool.
Just download them from there. So just you just download them straight from the website.
So it's a bunch of like one shots, right?
Yeah, I think so. I believe so. So yeah, I think if I play these.
Gritty.
Yeah. I mean that.
Oh, that's pretty trippy.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
Could really any alien thing.
Oh, I like that one.
Yeah.
That's dubstep, bro.
Put the link in the chat, Curtis, when you're done sharing. Or actually, I can just end the share. Yeah, that's awesome. One thing I think would be really cool is taking those sounds and putting them in like the SP for chromatic mode, or the Digitact with the. I think it's got some. You can turn it into chromatic, can't you, on the Digitact?
Yeah.
Digitact. Yeah. So taking it and taking like them and turning them into one shots for a sampler, and then using chromatic mode, or just a sampler in your DAW, like the sampler, I think it's called, or whatever it is in Logic, and I think there's one in Ableton with like a very similar name. But yeah, just throwing those one shots in and turning it into a chromatic across the keyboard would be pretty cool. I mean, that's I'm sure what the point of it is, but more to the point is like using it in an SP to have, or some sampler just to have these little synth sounds you could do, you know, that'd be cool.
Totally. It's like I say, it's one of those where it's used by so many, but it's kind of wonky and weird, which is nice, and free samples. It's never a bad thing. You know?
Eon Lake, since we really missed you last week, what's your take on it?
I mean, they've got a real sheen to them in the same way as you get that that Boards of Canada messed up tape, chewed VHS sort of thing going on. The anti-aliasing on these samples, that grainy sort of almost hiss on some of them. It's almost like a low bitrate conversion. It's a real sound vibe.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's Curtis is trying to get a jump on what we're talking about next, and it started playing.
Can you hear that?
But I muted it. Yeah, we can hear. I muted it, but we can. You were still presenting.
We put our sound mixer.
Don't worry, I have the power now. I can't read your mind. I didn't know. I saw in the presentation it was changing web pages, and I was like, oh boy, as Eon Lake's talking, this is gonna be rough. Real quick, Eon Lake, I think I shared the comment already, but J Bell says interesting sound. Yeah, we all agree. Yeah, like you were saying though, I'm sorry. After
I mean, personally, I find things like that a bit of a danger because I can get something going and then start messing around going through sounds like that for a long time and get lost in worlds.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. But that's the fun of it, right? That's how you make a song when you're having writer's block or something like that.
Especially woozy lo-fi stuff, you know, you can kind of send yourself into a bit of a trance going through old samples like that. But they've definitely got some character, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Curtis, what about you? What do you think about it? I mean, you brought it to the table, so.
Yeah, I mean, free stuff, samples, and we got a bit of a sampling kind of vibe. And I think for those, for me, that really kind of, again, stick it into a simpler or stick it to a sampler, or even I've been playing a lot with the Launchpad over the last week in terms of like more than just a Launchpad and using it. And like you say, put it in chromatic mode and just turn that into a lead, or turn that into a pad, or turn that into something that just flip that sample in that makes it sound completely yours, and then just see where it goes. That is a really good way to go. Like Venus Theory posted a video in the week about sampling, about how people are not, or the dangers of sampling and stuff like that. But like, when you've got something as classic as that, which is a really interesting and diverse jumping off point, it just, again, going down that rabbit hole. That's a really, you know, in a world where there's so many samples, that really triggered my kind of fancy, so to speak. It's like, yeah, all right, we can work with that. That's a gritty kind of weird ass sound that, you know, we can really play with.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's the key. Like I was saying, it's like anything that is going to get your mind going in a very like, oh, I could do this, I can do that. Well, let me try this. That gets you, like when we've talked about writer's block, or where you feel like you just can't make something or don't want to make something, doing something with something new and novel will create just accidentally random sounds that you go, oh, this sounds cool. And then you keep going from there and something comes up from that. That's like the key of sampling anything like that, is getting out of your normal workflows or even normal chord progressions if you're using like a longer sample or something, and experimenting and growing from there.
And with sounds like that, you can pitch them down and compress them and mess around them in a way where you can really bring those artifacts out until almost like the original material starts to take a back seat, and it's more like a texture and something quite different to what you're actually listening to. There's all sorts of things you can do with it.
Yeah.
Sky's the limit, man. It's all about your imagination. And I mean, you can either go get a MIDI chord pack and put some chords in, or you can just take something and just, you know, gnarl it up. Just see how much you can turn something into something else. It's just, you know, once you understand, I mean, I understand nothing, but like, you know, you can play around and
Mr. Socrates through. Over here.
You just, you know, once you can warp something into something completely different, it's a magical experience. It really is.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's a great way to move into the next thing we're talking about. But chat, if you have anything to say about these samples, or if you're interested in grabbing it, let us know. We'd love to hear what you're thinking about using it, or how you're thinking about incorporating it. But next, we're talking about something that was announced. It's a very interesting sampler, kind of a tape looper. It's not out. It's got a Kickstarter. We'll share the Kickstarter, but it's called CHOMPI. And now Curtis can share it. What were you saying, Curtis?
I was about to say, do you want me to share the video? Yeah.
Yes, I would appreciate if you'd share it. Yes. This time we can have the sound. It's all right. Oh, we got it in.
Hey, I love it. That's brilliant.
I'm going to back that one out.
Let me try sharing my other screen, shall we? Let's do that one instead.
I'm scared. There we go. It'll work.
So this is the CHOMPI. Can we just play it through a little bit?
Yeah, so there's a couple parts. I think just the intro to, well, right here where he's sampling the kalimba would be great. So right where you're at.
Nice handle.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah, isn't that cool? It's
like a lunchbox
briefcase or something. Yeah, hit this. So recording a single sound.
Yeah, let's use that.
And he's playing
It's
around
good
with it.
practice to move this mode switch into the downward position once we have a sample that we like, and that way we don't accidentally replace it with something else.
I love that aesthetic.
Now, if we want to change
Just
the
pause
root
it real quick.
we can use this.
So it's a very simple sampling workflow. Like you just quickly sample a sound into it, and you'll see everything. We can kind of skip around, but we'll put a link to the video. But everything is very quick, intuitive. So what he's doing now is changing the pitch of it with that second button, and then there's some effects that are built in. There's a filter. Just skip nearer to the end where he starts. Right about there. He starts using the looper. That's what I want to show. It might be a little bit before that. So the looper is the purple, that part. Yeah, the purple knob, and the other parts go a little bit before that. Yeah. Okay, so click that. He's gonna loop. It's crazy how quick it works.
They've obviously made this video for people like to skip through so they can see it. It's cool.
Yeah, I wish it had the little YouTube timestamps, but we're working with it.
Okay, let's play this.
This is the loop key, this is the play and the pause key, and this is the transport knob.
Oh,
That's
nice.
That's what I wanted to show.
Yeah, that's very nice.
Listen to that.
Magic.
Yeah, I'll give you that one, bro. Nice.
And then you can pause it there. We'll put the full link to it. From there, he then records a little shaker, and when it's slowed down and he plays it on the chromatics, it becomes this like wave. And so the way the recording works is you just turn on the looper and you play something, it starts looping that. Then if you play another thing, it loops that on top of it. So it's very kind of like the music for airports from Brian Eno, or like different times. Yeah. He's got different loop times for different things, but they're all playing at the same time, causing this. And then the way you can just change it around and stuff like that. J Bell pretty much had the same reaction I did when I saw this and added it. He said, holy cow, shit, that's cool. I was gonna say holy shit or holy cow, but it's holy cow shit. So we went up a level there. But yeah, it sounds really cool. The way when you just drop that speed down and it just becomes this lush lo-fi soundscape. So it's not really my issue with it. The thing I thought was interesting is, at least from this video and the way they showcase it, there's no dedicated sequencer where you can control the sequences you're putting into it. But as like a sound design or ambient sound maker, using that tape looper in that way would be really cool. And J-Bell also asks, how much is it? It's $500, and it's a Kickstarter. I'm not sure. I don't think it's like available. I think it's this Kickstarter. We'll put a link to the Kickstarter. Curtis, it's in the docket.
Yeah, I'll put it here. I've just done a quick Google. Yeah, $499, $500. Yeah, and the 28th of March it's available.
There we go. So, okay, and Curtis, the Kickstarter's in the docket. It says available soon. So I don't know if that's the Kickstarter that becomes available or the actual ordering, but yeah, it's just a really cool sound design thing.
And it's got a handle.
Handle. You talked about portability, Curtis. There you go.
3-year-old, and I really like that.
Well, I knew the second I put it there. I knew the second I put it there, Eon Lake was going to buy it. I mean, that was without a question. So, I'm sorry I'm hurting your wallet, but if you want to buy 2 and ship one to the US, let me know. I'm just saying.
Shipping is cheaper to Prague. Just going to say.
It's true.
If you want to, like, genuinely want to get, like, get into that stage. You've got kids and stuff like that, and you want to get them involved in what we do and indoctrination in the best of ways. That is the way to do it.
It's very kid friendly with the colors, the shape, the design, and all that stuff. I mean, it just like when I saw it and what I wrote in the docket for sharing it is it looks very intuitive. Like everything seems to be pretty much one touch. It does a function, and it's real quick to do. It's very simple, but what it does very well and very quickly.
Yeah,
with a handle and a 1980s keyboard.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it looks like a Commodore 64 or something like that.
With all the colors.
I want to know how clacky the keys are, though. Yeah. Is it digitac levels?
They are clacky.
They look clacky. I hope they're clacky. My keyboard, you've probably heard as I do it, this thing is clacky. So I wouldn't mind another clacker. Let's put it that way.
So, like, just stand outside your shed, and all we're just going to hear is just a cacophony of clacking.
Yeah.
How does the sound storage work? Is it just like you sample something and you play that until you sample something different?
I'm not sure. He said in the video that there were presets or something like that. I'm not sure. I couldn't find much information. Even the Kickstarter, at least the spot that I went to on the webpage I found for it, didn't really give much. I think they're going to probably reveal more as it goes through. But if people are interested in it, chat, if you're interested, let us know. We'll keep an eye on it and update as we see things.
Also comes in pink, just looking at their website.
Ooh.
Also comes in
Really?
pink.
Wow.
So,
there we go.
Your sample collection, it could just be a box of stuff that you sampled. Then you keep it in case you need the sound again.
But what I thought was a nice transition is imagine putting some of those Casio sounds into that and creating these crazy loops and then dropping the pitch of it or speeding it up and then putting that in your DAW or into another sampler or something. Like, there's a lot. J-Bell says, I feel like $500 is excessive. Possibly. It seems like it's a very small company, so it's probably good parts and things like that. And with the chip shortage and things like that, there may be issues there. I guess it's what you're comfortable with paying, but it's just a really interesting looking piece of gear.
It's a bit quirky, for sure.
Yeah, a bit. Yeah.
Different.
That's what I like about it. It's up there with Soma.
Yeah, very much so. Like, especially in this world, where like these little boxes are becoming more and more apparent. Everyone takes everything so seriously. Like, everything is just so sleek and shiny, and that's wonderful. It's great, you know. The Digitac or the Syntac, they look amazing. No fault with it at all. It's just nice to see some people not taking things so seriously and having a bit of a kooky to it. And it's like, hey, you know, life is weird. Let's enjoy it. You know, it's a very good way of doing it.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of taking things not very seriously, let's talk about working smarter, not harder.
What a transition, bro.
I know. Well, it's way past my lunchtime. I'm getting hungry.
There we go. For those in the States, we will be returning to normal time next week. As over here on the side of the Atlantic, we do go into summertime, or it's not British summertime. I don't think that's what they call it, especially what it is. But
the time is changing, is what he's saying.
European Daylight Time.
There we go. Yeah.
EDT.
Yeah.
So we'll be going back to it from next week. So thank you for being so flexible. The round robin, where we discuss some topics of the production, sometimes existential, sometimes marketing, sometimes just the gear that we've been using and tips and tricks. And some more brought this to the table today. I'm just having a look at the docket. I want to make sure I get this the right way around, because
you don't want to make that mistake.
We are looking at how we work smarter, not harder. It's obviously a lot of graphs sometimes, and it's a good way to find little, not shortcuts, but working smartly, not working so hard, making sure things work for you and not the other way around. I'm sure some more, as you brought this table, you had an idea where this came from. Do you want to tell us?
What if I said no?
So,
what would we do then? Just end the episode?
Yeah. All right. Bye, guys. See you next week.
That's what you did.
I mean, I had a few things. I'm happy to go first. I saw a Reddit post. It wasn't for music. I forget what it was, but it was like, what's your favorite work smarter, not harder tips or something like that. And I was just like, actually, I think it was YouTubers or some YouTube Reddit about making YouTube videos and stuff. And I've been really getting into my YouTube channel and working on that and looking what's the best practices for this, that, and that. But the hardest part and the most important part is making the videos, and those can be difficult. So I understand the point, but I thought rather than talking about YouTube, it would be interesting for all of us to share our favorite tips or the tips we use to work smarter, not harder. The biggest one for me is just batch. If you're working on mixing or recording or instruments or something like that, you do batch recording. It works really well with video, especially too. Like if you're trying to do social media, as we don't have a social media section, this ties in. If you're working to grow your social media, rather than laboring over it every day and getting all those crazy dopamine rushes and crashes and things like that, batch record a bunch of jams in a day, and then as we've talked about before, you can just schedule out throughout the week, throughout the month, those posts to just go live. And maybe you hop on only for 10 minutes a day or 10 minutes a week to respond to comments and talk to people and things like that. But batching is the biggest thing. And then for actual music making, one thing I really like is starting with presets, not necessarily someone else's presets, but I've made sound design patches and I start with those for almost every song and then either tweak them or change them as the song starts to show what it's shaping up to be and what it's going to be. I can be like, oh, okay, rather than a plucky synth, I want a pad, or I want this. And then I just start designing from there. We haven't heard from Eon Lake in a while with Round Robin, so I'd love to hear him next.
Well, I suppose one of the obvious ones is templates, really.
Yeah.
I like to have a few different types set up. I've totally robbed Curtis's idea of auditioning sounds for a release or for a project, where you sort of, decide on your palette and maybe set up a template as part of that. Think about what you're going to want to do with it, what you're going to want to have control over, and stuff like that. What the point of that for me is, you don't want to be in creative flow and have to do anything menial or technical. Having everything at your fingertips helps you just move forward and not have any interruptions in that precious flow state. And also, if you're using it as a way of, if you're introducing constraints or something like that, then a template is a good way of defining your boundaries, your parameters, and that's how you're going to do something. And then it's also a good way of deliberately changing it up when you need to as well. So you also get some quick wins when you're setting them up, where you're not actually doing any music and you accidentally do music because you were just setting up a template. Things like that happen too. So that's one. There's another one that I hit upon that was a bit of a surprise to me, because it's a bit counterintuitive. As somebody who used to do a lot of tracking and then mixing separately, and when I worked in studios, the first thing we'd do is we'd reset the board, especially if it was if it was an inline console, and you'd start from scratch with a mix. Whereas I don't do that at all anymore. I always did, in VSTs and at home and so on, and I struggled a lot with trying to capture vibes and strength of mixes, that things that sounded better when I was tracking them, and then I mix it and it just seems to fall on its backside a bit. And I find now that I tend to mix as I go. It works better for me. I do all the things that I would do in a mix at the end, and I mix into effects sometimes. I mix into compressors and then switch them off so that I've got some idea of what it may sound like when it's mastered and stuff like that. That falls into the template section again. But yeah, collapsed workflow in that sense, having to keep things separate like that. And I agree also with some Warper and the idea of multiplexing things. I think when you're trying to write an album and so on as well, having a lot of different bits of material, what do you do when you don't have a frame of reference? If you're what's the word? You lose your sort of point of reference. It helps to be able to keep changing the music to sort of keep your perspective. That's it, your sense of perspective a little bit. You can play other people's music as well sometimes. But yeah, I find that helps as well. And where you are doing things where you are having to do something in a session where you're creating something new, you're getting another instrument out, or whatever it is you might be changing, stop listening, for God's sake. Have some breaks. If you're doing something else, take a break.
Yeah. Those are all really good. Hydrofighter also adds, tracking instrument grouping is a big one for me. Using aux sends is another one. That might be what Curtis was about to say. I'm not sure. We'll find out. He says he agrees with the template setup too. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's always nice. That's what I was saying too with having presets, like a defined preset group for a set of songs you're working on, and then you can evolve them as the song goes on. It really saves a lot of time to start, because that's my hardest problem, is starting. Like, there's so much option paralysis when it comes to what instrument should I use, what sound. But it's like, if I just choose something and start hitting keys, see what comes out, and then later I can start changing it. But Curtis, what do you think?
Well, what do I think? That is the question. What do I think on a daily basis?
The questions might get harder. I'm just warning you. I don't know, man.
I like something brought in recently is I suppose in a similar vein to batching is archiving. So when I render something out, I won't just render out the master. I'll always render out the stems, and I'll package up the project file. I learned recently that you can do everything in Ableton to get all your samples and all your raw audio into one package, and then
collect all and save. Yeah,
that's the one. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I now have got into the habit of doing that with everything I do. I had a horrible time as far as a music producer can go, getting stuff off my old laptop onto my new one, and I don't want to do that again. So I'm archiving everything, I'm batching everything. Yeah. So like stems is the most important thing, I think. If you want to send them out for a remix, or if you want to if you want to send them out for a remix, or if you want to reproduce them live or anything like that, if someone asks you for stems or whatever, you go, oh, I've got that to hand. If for me, being the ADHD kid I am, like if someone says, oh, can you do this? I say, yeah, I'll do it. And then it's going to take me an hour to do it. It's going to take me a week. But if I'm like, yes, I've got these stems, here you are, here, follow this link and download them. It's just going to make me more productive, which means in a similar vein that when it comes to being actually in the studio, I can focus on creation, which is another thing for me. I always leave things plugged in, even if I know that I'm not going to use it. I come in from work or something and I put the laptop in its place, and I always connect everything up. I plug in all the USBs, all the micro Cs or type Cs or whatever you want to call them. And so that I know that if I open up Ableton, I can just start playing and I don't have to root. The worst thing for me is when I go to plug in or I do something and, there's a dead signal, or my guitar's not tuned, or, the routing is off, and I have to break focus, break my flow, and then go and fix that before coming back to it, when you've lost the one thing, which, if I may have one more.
Nope, you're not allowed.
I'm
just kidding. Go for it.
I always hit record. I've got into the habit over the last year. No matter what it is, the first thing I do, even before, say, okay, I've always have things plugged in, but even if my guitar's not tuned, for example, I'll always hit record first, because you don't know what's going to happen, and everything is recordable and everything's tracked, and it just allows for that workflow to be steady. And I know that even without doing a MIDI dump or anything like that, I know that I can have, if I've got a piece of gold, which, let's face it, isn't very often, but if I've got a piece of gold, I know it's there. I know that I don't have to recreate that in a false way. That is the natural flow of things.
Interesting. Yeah. Let me ask you guys, because Logic has, when you record audio, every time you record on that same audio track, it makes multiple, like it makes a folder of it, and you can switch between small segments of it. Can you do that in Ableton?
Yeah, comping.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, it's so awesome to do that, because like if I was recording some guitar stuff yesterday, and I had to do this solo over like a super synthwavy track, and I hadn't played lead guitar like with my wrist in months, and it came out better than I expected. But there were a few parts where like it went out of tune from bending, or I didn't like that certain like note set, and I could just go between the different ones, and there we go. It was perfect.
I never do that.
Really, dude, it's great, even for just like, it's similar to what Curtis was saying.
I hate it. It reminds me of long nights spent doing night sessions, comping vocals and other bits and pieces.
I get that, but from like what Curtis was saying, how if you just hit record, it's kind of the same way when you hit record like that, rather than hitting record. But if you just do multiple takes,
you've got everything, right?
Really like one part of it or something, you have it, and it's in time with the song, or most likely, so you don't have to do much movement and chopping up. Also, like with those vocals I was doing, I chopped them up and just took small parts and created this new melody out of it from like nothing. So yeah, it's interesting to do things like that.
I think I've got flashbacks to engineering with J-Bell for Black and Blue and doing like 35 takes plus ad libs and like comping that.
Go through them.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
But it's worth it. It comes out
so.
great.
Very much so. Hydro Fighter's comment, if you put it up somewhat, but
it didn't pop up yet. Hold on.
Okay.
There it is.
Yeah, a person should really just back up their hard drive frequently too, not just for music.
Yep.
Lost hard drive once and didn't have a backup. Lost, yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Feel that.
I said that's the last time I was on, and I had equally that did happen to me, and then it happened again, and the second time I was doing full hard drive backups nightly, and it creates a bootable backup as well. So when my disk failed, I could plug the external one in, boot off it, and I had my computer from last night back.
Yeah.
Those
time machines with Mac come in handy.
What do you have as your external backup?
It's just a USB SSD, and I'm using a program called Super Duper.
Okay, that sounds great.
It's a bit like Time Machine, but it actually creates a bootable backup. Whereas
Very
Time
cool.
Machine, you have to use Time Machine to restore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, so those are our tips. We'd love to hear from you guys. We're about to end, but if you want to get it in real quick in the chat, let us know if you have any tips. And if not, pop them in the comments below after this ends. And I will also make it a question for the Spotify version. I don't think the Apple Podcasts puts the question, but Spotify will. So if you want to listen on Spotify, and if you are, consider leaving a rating. It helps a ton. But yeah, any final things, guys?
No, but I want to hear more tips.
Yeah, we'd love to. I mean, together we grow, right? So if you got any tips, let us know. Curtis, anything?
I mean, I suppose one more minor thing is whatever I've got, I've always got this guy to hand. It's a Rode NTG2, which I don't know if this counts as working smarter, not harder, but I rarely use it. But the one time that I've noticed, the one time that I need to record something out in the real sphere, I never have a microphone rigged. So it's consistently plugged in, and there's always one dedicated to a microphone which is muted, so that no matter what I'm doing, I suppose everything for me is that kind of flow. That would be a little minor one, I suppose, for me.
Yeah, cool. All right.
But that's what we've got. That's what we've got for this week. Thank you ever so much for joining us. Unless have you got one more little tidbit?
Let's see. No tips, but I think that's the episode. I think that's everything. I'm looking forward to hearing everybody's suggestions or tips in the comments. It's always interesting to see what everybody's thinking. If you found any value in this episode, if you dug Curtis's album, consider leaving a like on the video. It helps a ton, just like the ratings on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. But honestly, just hang out with you all is more than enough. We appreciate you spending some time with us during your week, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Very much so. For anyone who is maintaining a presence on the interwebs for a little while, I am going live after this. I'm just going to be hitting record and seeing what happens in this regard. So if anyone wanted to see on my channel over there, it'd be lovely to see you. Otherwise, it's been lovely to hang out with you. Nonetheless, it's always a joy to hear what you've been up to, what's going down. Yeah, it's the best. It's the highlight of my week, really.
Yeah, and let's see. We got one last final comment. Hydro Fighter says, "Good show, guys. Was in and out. I'll go back and check out what I missed." Yeah, just hanging out as you did is more than enough, bro. We appreciate you every time. Hopefully, we can get you on the show sometime soon. We miss you, man. But yeah, until next week. Thank you guys for watching. We'll be back normal time. It'll be 11 a.m. Pacific. I'm totally blanking on the UTC. Is it 7 p.m. UTC?
Yeah. 7 p.m. UTC.
Yeah, there we go. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching, and we will see you next week.
Ciao.